So I'm going camping in a couple weeks, and I figured I'd set up all my tents just to make sure, one, that they're working, and two, that there's nothing wrong with them. They're aired out. There's no mildew or anything in them. Something you should do on occasion, especially if you aren't sure how they got stored. So what we're going to do is set all three up, go through each one of them, and explain the pros and cons of each. I have a 2-man, 1-man, and a 6-man tent. So obviously you're not taking the 6-man tent on a backpacking trip, but it's great for car camping. So we're going to go through it and explain the differences between them, why you would want one over the other, and some of the features and benefits of them. So yep, gonna get these set up and then we'll explain the rest. So this is my 1-man backpacking tent. It's a single wall tent from a company called Sutekas. I'll put a link up on the description. It is available on Amazon, some camping stores, a few backpacking websites. It's a pretty cheap tent. It's basically a ripoff of a Eureka 1-man tent. But I've used it about half a dozen times to 8 or 9 times maybe. It's pretty comfortable to sleep in. It is pretty small, but it is a 1-man tent. But you do have room to put a 70-liter pack and fairly decent size sleeping bag. So I usually sleep on an Apollo Air mat, and I usually sleep from Gear Doctors and whatever season sleeping mattress I would, or sleeping bag I would need. So we'll go inside the tent and we'll take a look at a few things inside. I did not sweep it out apparently last time I used it, so there is some junk in it. All right, so here we are inside the tent. It's a single wall tent, like I said, but I can sit up all the way. My head, without my hat, is not brushing on the ceiling. It's got a gear hook up at the top, so I usually hang my lantern slash air pump here. It has 2 vents in the top um, to let out condensation. On a nice day like today, I would just completely take this off. It's kind of nice. I can reach around and do this and just flip it down and let the airflow come through. So being a single wall tent, it does have a drawback of condensation, especially in cold weather. This is a 4-season tent, but with the condensation issue, I wouldn't really use it too much in the winter. I have used it in the winter, and the amount of frost that you get on the inside of this thing is just unreal. But it was a fairly warm tent when I did use it. When you're winter camping, small is good. Less area to have to heat up with your body heat. Um, the stitching on it is okay. There's a couple spots, especially along the vents, that you can see where light is poking through. So I have gone through and sealed it with a seam seal glue a couple times. And I probably should seam tape it at some point in the future. It's got a bathtub floor. So a bathtub floor on a tent is where you have the harder nylon surface floor that can wear on whatever surface, especially if you're not using a ground sheet. You should still use a ground sheet because it's not super thick. But it comes up the sides, kind of like a bathtub, so it helps stop condensation and stuff from coming in, or moisture weeping up from the ground. It's got one pocket. Like I said, it's got a reflective material on the inside, which actually does trap the heat quite nicely. But yeah, so I have enough room in here for a sleeping bag and a pack quite often. So now I would only use this when I'm backpacking or if I'm hiking in. I wouldn't use a car camping or anything like that because I have much bigger and more comfortable tents for that. But when I'm hiking in, this actually works very nicely. So let's go set up the 2-man tent and we'll go with we'll compare the differences on that. So we're just going to open it up and take a look inside. Hello. What are you doing in here? And how did you sneak in here? All right. So Patrick decided to sneak in here a little bit. All right. So this has got a lot more room than my one-man tent. It's a two-man tent, can almost be a 2.5-man tent because it's fairly wide. And a lot more ventilation in this tent. So you got two side doors, so you can both bail out either side. Like I said, it's got a nice big vestibule, so you can put at least 2 packs in there, and any extra camping equipment or stuff you don't want to get wet. Has hooks at the top here for tie outs. I've had this tent for, 20, almost 20 some odd years. Oh, dead spider. So it's starting to show some wear and tear, some mildew starting to form in it. 2 vents up at the top, and then it's got gear pockets on either side. Bathtub floor. It's pretty handy. I've slept in this as a 3-season tent. I've also used it in winter camping with Patrick a couple times. I think I've got some pictures of that up on our Instagram. And yeah, this is by far my favorite tent, but it is getting there. You can start seeing cracks and stuff appearing in the floor. I've had to seam tape and seam seal this thing at least 3 or 4 times over the years. But we're going to let it air out today, and we're going car camping in the next couple weeks, and Patrick's going to probably sleep in this tonight. So, yeah. Affordability of 10, it's probably at the time I bought it for $200, I think, but that was a long time ago. And I really have never had a problem with it. I don't know if this tent company exists still. I think they do. So maybe it's something you should check out. All right, so this one is a Canadian Tire Special circa the 1980s, 1990s. This is an Escort. It's a 6-man tent. It is a family-sized dome tent. It is a 2-wall tent, and as you can see, I can stand in it and have ample headroom. 2-wall tents, because I didn't talk about this on the last tent, 2-wall tents have the advantage that you can use them in more adverse weather conditions. The humidity goes out the vents and it goes along and condenses on the rain fly. So you have less moisture buildup and less condensation on the inside of the tent, which means less mold, less mildew, more comfortable night's sleep. This has venting all around the top. It's got a big picture window at the back, and you can zip down the whole front door as a window as well. And it can, if there is any kind of breeze, it gets quite nice and cool in here. Bathtub floor. This has got a very thick floor to it. So it's almost like a heavy tarpaulin or a hay tarp, if you know what that is. So it's a double layered nylon floor. It's got 2 gear pockets, and then it's got a lanyards up at the top here, or clotheslines up for drawing or hanging equipment. We use this for family camps. It is an absolute nightmare to set up by yourself, but as you can see, I had Patrick help me set it up, and that went so much better than it ever did, except for the fly. It was time lapse, thank God, because otherwise you would have learned some new words. So, yeah, those are the 3 tents that I own. By far, orange tent is my best. It's my 2-man Trek tent. It can be used for backpacking, but it's pretty heavy and doesn't fit in a pack, so you got to store it on the outside and make sure it's weatherproofed in some way. This sucker I only use for car camping. We only pull it out maybe twice a year. It weighs like 30 pounds just by itself because it's an older tent, so none of the lightweight fabrics ever existed. But it is a very comfortable sleep. To re-weatherproof these things, because some of these tents are really old, I use a aerosol Scotch guard on the rainfly. So the type that you would use for weatherproofing outdoor furniture cushions. And that seems to work really well. I believe it's a silicone-based spray. I will put a link up in the description with that as well. Thanks for watching, and I hope this guys gave you some ideas about tents and their uses. Yeah, have a good one.
If you like this content and want to watch more from Occasionally Outdoors, please remember to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.